Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Buckeye Blitz podcast. I'm your host, Chad Stryker, and it's finally time for Buckeye Friday. You made it through another week. Congratulations. We are nearing the, June time frame. We're wrapping up towards the end of May. We're headed towards Memorial Day weekend, so I hope everybody's had a fantastic week and has enjoyed the sunshine because this weather's been incredible. Thank you for choosing to listen to us today. I know that there's a lot of Buckeye football content out there and a lot of podcasts and videocasts, so thanks for taking some time. If you could, hit the like button. Definitely helping us with the YouTube surfacing of Buckeye football content. And one small thing, not so small thing, we are 99 days away from Buckeye football, so we're under the 100-day mark. We're closing in on that Indiana game at Indiana, so hang in there. We're getting there. As I mentioned during Q&A Tuesday, I would finish answering a question from last week, which was specifically around what I expect and what my expectations are for both sides of the ball. So Buckeye Friday last week, I talked about the offense. Today, I plan to talk about the defense. So last Friday, I mentioned that the over-under for Ohio State this year is 10.5 wins, and I'm taking the over. And I mentioned if they happen to drop a game, it's not going to be against our arch rival Michigan. It'll be somewhere along the way. But we get Penn State on the banks of the old Lintangi, and we have to travel to Wisconsin and Notre Dame. And as I've stated, this schedule isn't a layup, but what I like is that we don't play Notre Dame till week 4 instead of like a couple years ago where we played Oregon in week 2 when breaking in a new quarterback. So I do like that better. I'm going to take the over. So even if they do manage to drop one somewhere along the way by some crazy fluke, they'll still be at 11 wins. So we'll leave it at that. So the way I thought I'd address the expectations is kind of twofold: strengths and any shortcomings I feel like we had last year that may roll over into this year. So firstly, let me say I wholeheartedly expect this defense to be better than last year's, and I would say significantly better, barring multiple injuries. I'm going to point out 3 very specific games, and you guys will all remember them. Maryland, Michigan, and Georgia all exploited our inability to get to the quarterback, play sound, fundamental run gap defense, and cover their receivers for more than 3 seconds. So when I talk about big plays, and we hit on big plays, and Jim Knowles' philosophy about big plays, that's where they were. That's when they happened. The huge runs against Michigan. Honestly, they just executed better than Ohio State did in the second half of the game. With their run blocking, they wore them down. And we didn't play sound fundamental gap defense. They hit home runs. There was poor tackling in the secondary and bad angles, honestly. And then some bad play calls, too. You can't play one-on-one coverage or zero coverage with a safety, but, it happens. It did happen. It's over with. Maryland and Georgia both exposed our lack of quality depth and, quite honestly, our ability to cover in the secondary last year, and they were able to hit home runs that way, just kind of running wild in the secondary. So I'm not going to rehash that anymore. I just wanted to remind you of why I'm saying what I'm saying about how I expect and why I expect our defense to be significantly better, why I chose to use the word significantly. So first, defensively, obviously JT Tuimoloau played early in his freshman year, more or less what I feel like was out of necessity. And last year, I feel like, during the offseason, he bulked up and he had a very lean frame, and he's learning how to play defensive end at a D1. He had a great game, the best game I've seen by a defensive end in a long time, maybe ever, at Penn State. And now so what we want now is consistency from him in playing like that frequently. Jack Sawyer, when he came in, he was touted as Baby Bosa, and they went and fooled around with him. You guys know I was not a proponent of the moving Jack Sawyer to the jack position at all, and stunted his growth. He's back at the defensive end position. I expect him to have a phenomenal year. Mike Hall being back, healthy, full-time starting role, along with Tyleik Williams. I think that front four is probably some of the best, one of the top 10 in the country. And then I do like our second team better than I like what we had last year in the two deep personally. No slight to anybody in the two deep last year, but Jerron Cage and others just weren't getting it done for me. So Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, Tywan Malone, and Ty Hamilton. I think that two deep is really good, and then you add in Hero Canoe, and probably Amari Abor will see some run as well. Amari Abor looks like a man on a mission, so it wouldn't surprise me through summer and fall camp to see him start getting some more run and some more attention put on him. So the reason I'm putting that out there is more talent means more playmaking typically, and more sacks means less big plays downfield. Important. The secondary, again, I've hit on this when I did my breakdown of the position groups, so you can see that on the Buckeye Blitz under .godaddysites.com. I have that complete breakdown, and you can search my YouTube channel as well. I have position by position breakdown that I've done, so check that out if you'd like to. The secondary, again, Burke is back. Egbanosin came in. He is. I mean, he's on his way to an All Big Ten season, maybe even an All-American season. Jordan Hancock is back and healthy and getting a lot more reps. Jair Brown is poised to be the next big thing at Ohio State. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get some serious run this year at nickel. Jermaine Matthews, Ryan Turner, a lot more depth there this year. They brought in Lorenzo Styles Jr., so, make the quarterback hold the ball longer means more sacks and less big plays downfield. If the quarterback can't get the ball off and he has nowhere to throw the ball, all good things will happen. If you think back to the Bosa, Malik Hooker, those kind of things, all good things. So safety, and oh man, am I excited that Lathan Ransom is back. I think he's going to be elite. I think he's going to play himself into a first-round draft pick, and I think that he is going to just have a monster year. I'm not going to say a Malik Hooker year, but he's going to have a monster year. And Jahad Carter being here is a massive upgrade over last year. No slight to Tanner McAllister. Sorry, dude, but Jahad Carter has more tools. It was nice to have Tanner last year to kind of coach the defense on the field, but we need people to make plays. Sonny Styles, Kai Stokes, Cam Martinez, I think help with the depth. I'm not sure how that all shakes out yet, and I don't even know if the Ohio State knows. And then Proctor's back, so all of that sounds like a good mix of the safeties to me. I think that having two playmaking safeties and possibly three, because Sonny Styles is a freak athlete. I don't know what they do with him, but I'm excited to see it. So now linebacker, I will start by saying what you already know. Tommy and Steele are back, and I expect Steele to be even better than last year. I fully expect to see Mitch Melton and C.J. Hicks playing the jack position. Something that matters about the linebacker position is last year about 60%-ish of their plays. They had three linebackers, or some semblance of three linebackers on the field, so that leads to more Cody Simon and or C.J. Hicks. Regardless of how the linebacker room is stacked, and Tommy, I think the world of Tommy Eichenberg. I think he is just phenomenal, and I'm excited that he's back. And I love Still Chambers. He converted running back, making plays on the defense. I will need and want to see more sound fundamental football from Steele by playing in his gaps a little better, because I saw, more times than I've really cared to count that he got caught up in the wash on running plays and or took himself out of the plays by just not being in position. And again, he converted to running back last year. Was his first full year as a full-time starter. He's learning, and he's kind of learning in trial by fire. And I think that it's easy to get, for me to sit here on my chair and point out that, oh, he's over there and he should have been here. And again, he's a great kid, great linebacker. I think he's going to be, have a solid year. Do I see him being elite and playing at the next level? Probably not, but he will be good this year, and just need, he has some growth, and maybe he plays himself into a next level linebacker. That anything is possible, because he does have great speed, and if there's anything the NFL likes about linebackers, it's great speed. So I just don't want to see him get caught up in the wash as much and take himself out of play. So strengths, again, we have more talent than I can really recall in the back end of the defense in the last 3-4 years, I'll say, since 2019 probably. But the talent has to play up to its potential and get us back to BIA. And I mean that. Like, we have to. And the defensive line, I think they're poised to have a huge year. I think there are 3 potential first-round draft picks playing together in JT Tuimoloau Sawyer and Mike Hall. They'll need to play at an elite level to help the secondary continue to grow. The linebackers are sound and stout. I like how all that shapes up. If there's a weakness to me, it's still the big play. In spring, Chip Trainum and Mayan and Dallin Hayden all popped big runs. I saw Chip Trainum's live in the spring game. He just popped out the backside of the defense. I don't even know if anybody touched him, and he took it and he was gone to the house for about 60 plus yards. I shuddered for a minute when I saw it, because it reminded me of the last game I watched in the Horseshoe, and we won't talk about that, against Michigan. They need to clean that up, and I think they'll be good. I've said this before, and I'm going to reiterate it. OSU's defense really needs to hold opponents to what I would say are under 24 points per game on average, and we'll go undefeated. If they can do that, we'll go undefeated. Because I don't see another defense that's going to keep Ohio State's offense and the playmakers we have under 24 points. So there you have it, folks. That's my breakdown. That's my rundown. That's what I have to say. I hope you guys have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. And on that note, a serious note, I want to take a moment to thank all of those who gave their life in service to our country. So we enjoy the freedoms that we have, and I have the freedom to make this podcast and many other things that we get to do today. And thank you to the families that grieved their loved ones that never made it home again. Remember them, honor them, and cherish their memories. Thank you again to those who have done that. Your sacrifice is not lost on me and many of us Americans, so thank you. And that'll do it for me. I'll see you next week. Q&A Tuesdays right around the corner, so if you want to leave a comment or ask a question, feel free to do so. Thank you again. Enjoy the weekend. See ya. Go Bucks.